If you haven't already heard, Yellowstone will be cancelled after season 5 since Kevin Costner will no longer be appearing in the show. They weren't able to do a lot back then, and they still can't do much. Of course, this is devastating news because we have all dedicated more than 5 years of our lives to this project and feel that it deserves a fitting conclusion. It appears that neither Costner is more, though. Taylor Sheridan is responsible enough to put the Yellowstone community's needs ahead of their own grudges. You did hear correctly. It's a terrible tragedy that Costner is ending the series and bringing it down with him over his never-ending feud with Sheridan. Let's look at what these two accomplished adult males are arguing over now without further ado. Puck News reported a few days ago that Costner was okay with quitting the program. He wasn't quite ready to appear in the season's last few episodes, though. In reality, he insisted on seeing how his character had been written out of the situation first and made a promise to abstain from the shooting if he didn't like how John Dutton had been resolved. The news source claims that the actor needs to feel at ease with how the franchise has developed his John Dutton character. Costner apparently doesn't want to watch John Dutton suffer in vain due to a straightforward vehicle accident or something similar. He wants him to have a grand conclusion that fits his character development. This information shows that Costner and Sheridan's feud is just getting worse. We already knew that the two were attempting to embarrass one another by spreading false information to the media. To have a polite conclusion to the Yellowstone saga, we always expected that they would maintain as much civility as possible. Unfortunately, some males are incapable of maturing. Instead, despite having a successful profession, they still prefer to engage in ego conflicts with one another. But until a few months ago, it seemed as though Costner and Sheridan had a great relationship. In fact, the two have frequently praised one another, indicating that they were eager to collaborate. For instance, in an interview with Deadline, Costner praised Sheridan's writing abilities and said, "Taylor Sheridan writes to the heart, he writes to the gut, and he writes unapologetically. That's a rare talent." In an interview with the Los Angeles Times, Sheridan spoke about working with Costner and said, "Kevin is a true collaborator, which is not a word I use very often in Hollywood. He understands the collaborative process, and he understands how to bring out the best in people." Similarly, in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, Costner discussed Sheridan's work ethic and said, "Taylor Sheridan is a workhorse. He doesn't stop. He's always got another idea, always got another project, and he's always writing. He's a force of nature." In an interview with Coletta, Sheridan once again spoke about the trust he has in Costner as an actor and said, "I trust Kevin. When he's on screen, you can believe anything he says or does. He's one of those guys who has earned that trust." Last but certainly not least, in an interview with Variety, Costner spoke about his relationship with Sheridan and said, "I love Taylor. We've done a lot together, and we continue to do a lot together. I hope he's in my life forever." So how did they end up here after all these beautiful remarks about each other? Well, it seems like things started to get worse when Sheridan prioritized the prequel shows over Yellowstone. Costner, who is also an executive producer on Yellowstone, wanted Sheridan to put Yellowstone first and then deal with the other series. Costner's reasoning was that Sheridan was not being able to write the scripts on time for the show as he was working on multiple scripts at once, so they constantly had to reschedule the shooting schedules, which was messing up their plans. In the end, Costner has had enough and refused to participate in the filming of Yellowstone Season 5, Part 2 for more than a week, as he already spent 65 long days shooting Part 1. Naturally, Sheridan didn't like Costner's attitude and expressed how he has done with Costner's diva-like attitude on the set. Both sides made various statements through their own proxies, such as lawyers and friends, and to be honest, each side seemed right in her argument. That being said, neither was right enough to justify the abrupt ending of Yellowstone, in our opinion. Last week, the beef reached its peak point as it was confirmed that Costner was leaving the series and Yellowstone Season 5. Part 2 was going to be the last season of the show. It was also confirmed that Sheridan was working on a new show that will be a direct sequel to Yellowstone so that the show can have a proper ending. In that new show, we will replace Costner with Matthew McConaughey, which is a controversial choice that divided the fans. Still, it's good to know that Sheridan is still believing in the Yellowstone saga and is willing to invest in the project. Costner, on the other hand, is working on his new project named Horizon, which is also a Western. In the meantime, he might never return to Yellowstone Season 5 if he doesn't like how his character is being written off. So we might end up with a blatant car accident that kills John Dutton off-screen. Which would be a pure insult to not only the show itself, but also the audience that put so much into this series over the years. According to Yellowstone producer David Glasser, they demanded co-star to participate in 35 to 40 days of shooting for Season 5 Part 2. However, Costner wanted to participate for 3 weeks maximum. So apart from a proper ending to the character of John Dutton, the filming time also continues to be a topic of discussion for both sides. Unfortunately, it seems like the Paramount officials are already preparing themselves in accordance with the possibility of Costner's absence. So guys, before winding up, remember to like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.